Knows Best.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. I don't know why it feels like so long since I last spoke to you, even though it's the same exact time that it is every single week. Wait, I feel like I've been starting off with something current. I just got back from my walk this morning, and my sweet, precious husband and he brought to my attention that he would like to make a budget. Again, and we do this pretty frequently. We just haven't yet with the new house that we live in and with his new paychecks. He just wants to see it all. But something that happened last week is that he texted me because, again, he obviously looks at our money, but he's not the one who knows. I know every single payment and what day they're getting taken out. And he texted me last week and was like, hey, babe, just want you to know I invested $1,000 on his Robinhood, whatever. And I'm like, amazing. Well, this morning I am on a walk, and I just so happened to think about checking our bank account, which I do pretty frequently, obviously. And I check it, and he did another $1,000 this morning because I already checked it once this morning. I'm literally insane. And it's fine, except we have a payment next week, and he doesn't get paid until Friday. And we have enough money, but again, we're getting to that point where he is okay with a little bit of money in the accounts, and I like a little bit more than that. And I just sent him, it wasn't passive aggressive at all. I don't do that. And I didn't want to ruin his day and be mean. I said, babes, this is literally 9:21 a.m. We need to pay blank on the 15th. You don't get paid until the 17th, right? Just FYI. I said, I love that you're investing, and it's fine this time, but I don't want to live a life again with zero money in our bank account. He hasn't answered, which obviously he's working and it's only 9:52, but I'm I love that. And I didn't want him to freak out, but I'm just okay, let's maybe just let me know, right? Just say, hey babe, am I good to do this? What are the payments coming up? But we'll get it down. I'm actually going to start with the budget today and just start writing down all of our expenses and then roughly our incomes together, and then we'll sit down and do that. Not to get into the finances again. Speaking of last weekend, not speaking of at all, I went to Minneapolis. Minneapolis is such an interesting city, and my current gripe that I have that I'm not sure I've noticed before is we'll be in the city, right? My brother lives in Minneapolis, zip code Minneapolis, their house is there. I have no service. I have the least amount of bars, and my shit loads so slow. And I'm how am I in a big city with no service? And my brother's what provider do you have? And I'm AT&T. And he's we use T-Mobile. And I'm okay, well, I don't know what to tell you. How is this a full-blown city and there's no goddamn connection? Right. That's odd. Number two, Minneapolis is really pretty. Trees and the lakes, obviously. If you don't know, Minnesota is the land of 10,000 lakes. Literally, there's lakes everywhere. And they get seasons. It obviously gets very cold. But it also is I feel kind of run down. And maybe I'm just so used to Dallas being so uppity and snooty. And Dallas is a really well kept together city. I just felt, or the areas we were kind of really run down. My brother's neighborhood is not the best. However, they bought their house way back in 2018. This man was telling me, I think his mortgage is $1,200. And I'm that's actually mind blowing. And I love that for you. I fucking love that for you, but I hate that for me. I said, we're never going to be able to buy a house, which obviously it's a smaller house in a not great neighborhood and the time that they bought it, but still I would hold on to that for the rest of my life. That's incredible. Anywho, Friday morning, I wake up. My flight is at 5:55, 6:55 a.m. I have the Uber getting me at 5:15. It's DFW, which is 30 minutes away. And unfortunately, something that happened, which I can't really dwell on it, is when I wake up, and especially that morning, I think my alarm was set for 4:40, and then I was up taking care of May. finishing up packing, getting my shit together and getting out the door, I don't look at my phone and I'm filming. So I literally just like grab my phone. I do the video button because I've been doing these morning in the lives, and I film, and then I did not look at my phone once. I get into my Uber and can finally like chill out, right? Because my Uber came at 5:15 and it was like flight delayed 30 minutes, which no, actually I did see it at like 5:08 and my Uber was already there. Even though I requested the Uber to get there at 5:15, he was already outside, and I saw the notification as I was about to leave because I got a text message and it was delayed 30 minutes. But I got the Uber at 5:15. That would get me to DFW at 5:45. My flight was at 6:50, so I think I was boarding at 6:10. So I was only getting there like 25 minutes prior to boarding, which is like, some might think it's risky. I don't think it's risky at all. But I was like, okay, it's delayed 30 minutes. Like, sure, could I push back this Uber? But I'm like, whatever. I'm getting there late enough. I'll still not even be an hour early. It's fine. I get there, I get through TSA, I'm sitting there, and then we get another notification that it's delayed another 30 minutes, which is like, okay, I'm already there, not that bad, it's fine. It is now 6:40 maybe, I don't remember exactly, and then all of the sudden on the intercom, it's like Minneapolis flight delayed until 11:30. And I sit there for longer than I should have. I hesitated because I'm like, okay, well, I'm already here. But I'm also like, okay, 11:30, in theory, if I were to go home, what time would I leave? And I'm like, okay, I'd probably leave our house at 10 to get there at 10:30, get through, right? And I'm like, okay, it was like 6:15. Okay, or maybe 6:20. I was like, okay, if I leave now, I get home before 7, that's 8, 9, 10, that's 3 hours. Like, I could just go and like chill with Maydog. And I was still stressing a little bit because I hired a woman off of Rover to come and let May out during the day. I spoke to my sweet, sweet husband and he's like, I cannot make it home. Like, I'm not going to drive home to let her out. Like, I don't know what to do. And I was originally thinking I could leave her with Natalie, but I'm like, it's such a hassle. I'm like, I would love if somebody could come here. And May's so easy. Like, she just freaking sleeps all day. So I spoke to him and he's like, yeah, I won't leave until a little bit later in the morning. And then I'll get home at a decent time. It's Friday. Like, even if I have work, I can just come home at like 6 at the latest. And then I'll just like work from home. Right. I'm like, okay, amazing. So I spoke to this woman. I was going to have her come 2 times, like let's say 11 and then like 4. Well, I'm like, okay, I'll go home. And then she only has to come like midday in between. And then May is only really by herself. She'll be by herself for like 3 hours. Somebody will come and then 3 hours. And it's perfect. So I Uber back home. Carter is still in bed. It's like 7 a.m. Not even. It was like 6:45. He wasn't even up yet. So I got ready, whatever. I'm like, oh, this is great. I mean, it was such a waste of money to pay for Ubers to go there and back. But I'm like sitting at the airport because it was 3 hours at home. But if I sat there, I wasn't boarding until 11. It was 6:45, 7:45, 8:45, 9:45, 10:45. That's like 4 hours and 15 minutes. And I'm just at DFW doing what? Yeah, no. I get home, whatever. And then I'm just chilling on the couch. I think probably editing my little morning vlog. And I get a notification that they moved it up. And I'm like, motherfucker. But it was only up until 10:30. But I'm like, shit, just in case they do it again, which I still think it should be illegal to like, how can you delay it and tell people that it's at a certain time? Which I understand people's innate reactions is not to like go home. But it's like, how can you move it back? Because this happened to us. I'm sure I had the podcast then when Carter and I were flying somewhere and it was a late night flight to Southwest, or not to Southwest. It was on Southwest, either to San Diego, probably. And it kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. And we only lived like 10 minutes from Love Field at that time in our apartment, maybe 15 minutes. So we just hung out at home. We're like, okay, well, like we'll just keep chilling here because we're super close anyways. All of the sudden it gets moved back. We're not on the way. The flight's in like 45 minutes. Carter's freaking the fuck out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to be fine. It's going to be fine. But like, how can they do that? I just don't think like that should be pretty set in stone. Like, why would you tell us 11:30 if like you didn't know for certain that it was going to be 11:30? Like, I don't know, whatever. I'm obviously just angry because I went home and then I had to go back. But it honestly was nice. I still got like 2 hours at home. And then May was taken care of. I get to the airport. Everything's great. It's still on time for 10:30. I message the girl. I'm like, can you just come at like 1? And she's like, of course. And I give her all of the information. And then I get on the flight. Oh, I'm like, I'm going to be on the flight now. I thought that I was going to be available to speak to her in case anything were to go wrong. And I'm like, I'm not going to bother Carter because he's going to be at work and like he won't even probably see it. So I just like message her, try to give her all of the information. I get on the flight, I land. And I've told you guys, we now have like a Ring doorbell and a security system, like cameras in the front and the back. And I get a notification like as we land, and it was from like 4 minutes ago. I get a notification when somebody's at the door, and it was her because it was like probably 12:30 or 12:45 when I landed. I'm like, oh my gosh, perfect. So I messaged her and I'm like, I'm here, I'm free. And she didn't need anything. She sent me a few photos. It was amazing. My brother picks me up at MSP, which actually their airport is like pretty nice. They recently updated it, I think. I guess I was there over the summer too. We had a connection there. Love it. Anywho, super easy. Walk right out. My brother gets me and then we go to the expo. If you've never ran a race before, typically like when you're running a 5K or a 10K, not if it's like a turkey trot, like, you know, there are certain events like the 4th of July that there's like just a 5K. But if it's like a big race event, like there will be the marathon. Like, of course, this event had a marathon. There's typically a half marathon. There will be a 10K and a 5K. Minnesota, I think, is one of the few that does a 10-mile race, which is between a half and a 10K. So a 5K is 3.2-ish miles. A 10K is 6.1. A 10 mile is obviously 10 miles. A half marathon is 13.1-ish. And then a marathon is 26.2. Okay, so that's the order. Well, with these things, obviously, in our race alone, there was 2,400 people. I'm not sure how many people ran the marathon, but I would say the same. There's like a lot going on. So it's typically like a weekend of events. But before your race, there's the day where they have the expo, where you go and pick up, because you wear a bib. If you don't know, if this is your first day on earth and you've never like been to a race or seen that, which like I don't blame you if you haven't, you're either kind of in the world or not in the world, but you wear a bib and it's just your number. And I think the main reason you wear it is because in it has a chip. And once you pass the start line, it'll time you, right? Because when you also start a race, you're in a corral. So like you don't necessarily start, like our race started at 7:15, but I started further back because my pace was lower. So like it wouldn't be a fair time, which this will make more sense and I'll get more into this. Your time doesn't start then because you don't even start until you pass, like, you know, there's the finish line, there's the start line. So there's a chip in there and it's like using technology of some way. I don't really know how it works. And when you pass it, it'll start your time. And then that way, when you come into the finish, it will also stop your time and you'll know your exact time. So that's in the bib. So it has like your name, your number, whatever, the thing in the back. And then you get your little safety pins. And then they'll always have like, typically you'll get a shirt when you run a race and like little, you know, whatever. So they give you a little baggie. So you go to this expo to like essentially get your bib. But what they'll do is also have like a health fair or like just a fair, because these people are already there anyways. There were like running shoe brands and there was like, State Farm was there. Really anybody who wants to do advertising at this thing. There also was like a big area where you could buy like sweatshirts and like, you know, logoed, or what's the word I'm looking for? My brain's not really working today. I'm not sure if it's ever working and I haven't eaten yet. So I'm really slow to process. Like merch, essentially, I suppose, for the event. And like the people that run the marathon, like that makes sense. But it's like, I'm doing the 10K. And of course, any amount of running is great. And nobody is like judging you. But for people who is not in the racing or running community, a 10K is like the lower end of the spectrum. Like I told you, a 10 mile is more than that. A half is more than that. And a marathon is obviously the big bad guy. And like, if you're running a marathon, like that's insane. I don't quite think people know like how crazy, well, when people do like ultra marathons, people do Ironmans, people do triathlons, but like a marathon and anything beyond that, like 26 miles is crazy. Like that's literally people, you could die, right? Like it is such an accomplishment. It's not an accomplishment that I ever want to do. I was speaking to my brother about this and like I just have no real desire to push myself. And my brother, of course, he's like, he thinks everybody should do it. And he's ran a marathon and he wants to do the Chicago Marathon next year. Again, if you're in the running community, which I'm not like really, I only know because of my brother, like they're the big marathons. Obviously, I'm sure most of you know of like the New York Marathon, the Chicago, like these are the same exact events every year. So like we were at like, this is called the Twin Cities in Motion, but like this is like the Minnesota Marathon, right? Anywho. We go, we do the expo, we walk around, that was fine. And then we run to Walmart. My brother needed to get a few things. I needed to get some caffeine. And then we go home and I finally see Ashley, my brother's wife. I was going to explain, I think last week, I'm sure I've hinted at, well, I don't know what I'm hinting at. Not that you guys need to know my brother's personality, but like my brother is a very introverted person. And it's interesting because to me, he doesn't stop yapping. Like over the weekend, I'm like, damn, this guy can yap. And then I thought about Carter and I'm like, is this what he feels like when I'm just like talking at him all the time? But it's so sweet because my brother to like other people, and I think he's gotten better as he is an adult, but like I'm telling you guys, a core memory of my childhood, my brother was 2 years older than me. So when he was a senior, I was a sophomore. And girls, I obviously played sports and I was on varsity when I was younger. So like a lot of the girls that I played with were my brother's age, right? Because like they were seniors and I was a sophomore. So like, and our high school isn't that big. I feel like it's just kind of was intertwined, but these girls would come up to me. Okay. Because when my brother was really young, like when we were kids, he literally didn't speak all the way through high school. Like he was just so introverted and so to himself. And he's like the brainiac. My brother's like so smart. He got a perfect ACT score. I'm pretty sure. Like this man is just like so naturally smart. The girls would come up to me, or like this group of girls, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, Brenna. Everybody called him Berg, our last name. They're like, we got Berg to say 4 words today. Like literally they would tell me that. Like, and it was never more than like 7 words. They'd be like, oh my gosh, we got Berg to say like 7 words today. And I'm like, oh wow. And of course, like at home, my brother's not introverted to me. Like we would sit and chit chat, and like me and my brother were like really close. Pretty much our whole childhood and now even, but like that's how little he talked. Like some people would come up to me and they'd be like, oh my gosh, Berg. Like, and teachers were always confused because they had me. Right. And like, I was a very respectful student, but like I spoke and was like charismatic and like, you know, really just spoke. And they're like, oh my gosh, like Brandon is your brother. And I'm like, yeah. And I know that they never tried to do this, but they definitely made me feel like the bad apple. Right? Because not only does he never speak, he's like the perfect student, he's also like a straight A+ student. And I was also like, I don't think I had a 4.0 because my APs got me in the ass, but close, right? Like I was a good student, but I spoke and like whatever. Anywho, that's who my brother is. And now like he's an adult obviously, but he's still just like very antisocial. Like he only has a few friends, which I only have a few friends, but he's just the best. Like when you think about a great guy, like that is my brother. He's just like kind, he's soft, he's just like the best. Ashley, his wife, is like a lot like me, which like makes sense. I feel like there's such a great balance. Like not that she's loud by any means, but like she has like a bigger personality and she's just the best. Like we get along so well. It was so great to see them. Oh, Friday night, we went to Olive Garden. My brother loves Olive Garden. And obviously before the race, you carb load. And so it was their like endless pasta. And I didn't know it until we were driving there. My brother's best friend, Fish, was coming. And Fish actually just got married and had a child. So she stayed home with the child. I met his wife at my brother's wedding like 3 years ago, but that's it. Fish went to high school with us and he was actually in between us in grades, but Fish was a runner as well. So they were in cross country and Brandon and him have stayed friends forever. And like Fish is also a lot like my brother, like just the kindest, sweetest, like great person, like just like so wholesome. Like they're just the best. We get dinner. I obviously pay for dinners. That was like my brother's like birthday dinner. So I got it, of course. Well, I also paid for everything over the weekend because in my head, I didn't have to get a hotel because they let me stay with them, which was so kind. And it was also my brother's birthday. So I'm like, let me just like get the things right. It's his birthday. I didn't have to pay for a hotel. Anywho, that doesn't really matter. We go home and we go to bed because we have to wake up early for my brother. I obviously get up early for the race. We get up, Ashley drives us. We actually were able to find a parking spot. So we go, my brother warms up. He does like a 2-mile run before the run. I'm like, I will not be partaking in that at all. No. I go, oh my gosh, you guys, wait. What is that noise? I just messaged, this is another thing that's happening. This morning, wait, 2 minutes ago. Oh, I think they are working on it. Wait, let me look at this. Yes, thank you guys. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I just kind of blacked out. I texted, wait, let me respond to her. Thank you so much. We have a gate. Have I explained the house to you guys? Our house that we live in, it's like a garage door and then it's a gate. And like these gates are so goddamn heavy. Like it's straight metal. But you put in the code and then you go through that gate. I'm sure if you've seen my morning vlogs, you kind of see it. So you go through this gate and then like our quote unquote front door is on the side of the house. But you have to go through this door first. So like this is what I use. We don't have, and I'm not sure why our garages. Sorry, this is like so ADD. I was like hearing a noise, you guys, and there is construction that's going on by us, but it sounded like really close. I can hear him working on it, which what prompted me to think about this. The gate, holy Brenna, collect your thoughts. Like sometimes I literally make myself lightheaded. The gate is heavy. And when we first moved in, it wasn't a problem for a little bit, but it started to not latch. Like you should shut the gate and it should just latch. And then obviously the code, like it locks. And I'm not keeping that open because then people could just come to the door, which obviously I can lock the door, but it's like just another extra thing of security. Well, then it started like it wasn't latching. So I would have to like either push up or pull down. Like it just wasn't latching correctly. And I put up with it for a little bit, but then I texted the property manager and she was like, oh my gosh, of course, like I'll have our maintenance guy come by. And then he fixed it. And essentially what they did was just try and drill into the metal where it's supposed to latch. They just like, tried to carve it out a little more, but they were doing it for, I say they, because it was one guy and then somebody was helping him. They were there for a while trying to do it. Then it was fixed. It was latching. Well, like, last week, maybe the week before that, there have been a few times where I just like, cause I just slam the door, right? Or I'll just like pull it and then it just like latches. Well, it wasn't latching and I'm like, oh damn. But then this week it's been so bad. And like literally my arm hurts today. I'm like sore because I'm like having to push it up. So what I think it's because it's so heavy, it's starting to pull down and now it's again, not hitting into the groove. And I'm like having to push it. And I've had to do it now. We have landscapers that come and do the front like every single Monday, but they come the first Monday of the month to do the back. They kind of just like wind blow and like make sure, even though I don't really know what they're doing. I guess we have trees and we have turf. So they just like clean it up. Well, I saw them because again, I have this notification system on my phone, like the Ring doorbell. They were having a hell of a time closing it. They were standing there for a long time. And I was like, I'm not going out there to help, even though I know, like I'm literally paying to do it. I'm like, just like latch it up. Right. The guy is here working on it right now. She texted me and said, I'll have him over. Thank goodness. Oh, also Cutie Carter texted me. LOL, that's my bad. You can take my credit card. No, it's fine. We have money and I also have a credit card, but I'm just saying, pay attention to our finances. Wait, let me see. Oh, you guys, the problem about being a girl is I'm sure you're like me. It's kind of like investigative research where you just like to know what's going on. Oh, he's already gone. Wait, let me see. Sometimes it only saves videos for a certain amount of time. Wait, did he fix it or no? Oh, maybe. he's not there anymore. So I can have like the live footage, and then I can just pull up, like, it saves when people walk by. Like, I'll get our neighbors going by. Well, I'm looking at the live footage right now and it's closed and he's not there. So I wonder if he fixed it so quickly. Hopefully. Thank God. Sorry, sir. I also got to creep on Carter in May because I told you we had the cameras while I was gone, and I would forget about it. But then he would send me a photo. Like, one time he sent me a photo of May sitting out in the sun. So then I would pull up our back cameras and I could see him sitting there on the chairs, and I'm like, watching you guys. I should not have access to that. Anywho, let's back it up. We wake up. We go to the race. My brother warms up and then it starts. And my brother, of course, went to the front because when you start a race, they have typically polls where it's like, okay, if you run a 5-minute mile, start at the front. If you run a 6-minute mile, start the next 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on and so forth. Because if I started at the very front, but I run a 10-minute pace, like, people are going to be passing me and it's just like inconvenient. Or for example, if my brother started in the back, he would have to pass motherfuckers. I need to stop saying that. I really need to stop saying that. I don't know why it started. I apologize. That's like so not okay. He got 15th out of 2,400 people. My brother was 15th. He's literally insane. He ran like a 6-minute mile. I run a 10-minute mile. Okay, a 6-minute mile is insane. Just for anybody who doesn't know. He goes to the front, so then I'm way in the back by myself. Oh, but what I was saying is, like, if he started in the back, he would have to pass people, and like, that's just not ideal to run and like to have to do that. So we run, and basically, oh my gosh, you guys, the houses we ran past, they weren't like insane, but I'm like so glad the path was what it was. I know that in Minnesota, like, obviously there's the river, and that would have been Gorgina. Basically, we started at the state capitol in St. Paul. It was actually St. Paul. The marathon goes Minneapolis. I think they start downtown Minneapolis. Oh, if you're unfamiliar, they call it the Twin Cities because it's Minneapolis and St. Paul. They're basically just split by the river. So like downtown Minneapolis is like here. St. Paul downtown is like right across the river. They're not far from one another, just to give you an idea. And our race was completely in St. Paul, whereas the marathon starts in downtown Minneapolis. They go all the fuck over. 26 miles is like so much land. Anywho, we start at the Capitol and basically it was straight out down the street, like pretty straight for the most part. The very beginning, you like go up this hill and then you curve like right and then left, but then it was pretty much a straight shot. Then you round this thing and come straight back. So like in a marathon, you don't pass people. Like 26 miles, they'll make it like all over the place and then you come home. But this one, it's a 6-mile race. So it was like 3 miles out and 3 miles back. Well, there's cones in the center. So the guy in first was like insane. My brother ran it in 38 minutes and 8 seconds. I think the winner ran it in like 30 minutes. So like, it doesn't seem like a lot of time, but like that's a big, like my brother was 8 minutes. Is that correct? 8 minutes. Maybe he ran it in 32. Maybe 32 minutes. So my brother was like 6 minutes, but that guy was like way ahead of everybody else. And this oftentimes happens. Like the guy who's first, maybe not in a marathon. I think they were pretty close back to back, but like in a 5K and a 10K, there's like clearly usually a standout. Well, number one comes and he follows like a car. They'll have like a car in the front. That way they don't get off course and whatever. And you know that the winner is coming. Well, he passes. And of course, like everybody's cheering him on. I'm in a group, like a lot of people run like a 10-minute mile pace. Like I'm pretty much around people the whole time. But obviously like the first 30 people are pretty split up because like they're really racing and like there's not a lot of people who can run that fast, right? And my brother told me he was looking at previous times. He's like, I think I should be in like the top 30. He's like, based on like the time that I'm shooting for. And if I make that goal and what other people do, like I should be in the top 30. I'm like, after I saw the first guy go by, I'm like, oh, let me count. Like, I'm going to pass my brother. I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to run right past me. I got really excited. I'm like, I don't know when he'll come, but I was like, let me just try and count, right? Like, let me just try. So the first guy comes and then the second person, and they're kind of like, slowly coming in. Again, the first people are like way ahead, and then the next, and then the next. And another thing about my sweet, precious brother is he's 6'5". My brother is 6'5". You can't miss the man. So of course I'm like, what t-shirt was he wearing? And I knew he was wearing white. And like, I took that video. If you watch my story, I could see him coming. I'm like, oh my God, he's in 15th. Like literally he passed. Oh my gosh. I felt so bad. And thankfully, so I'm like screaming at him. I'm like, Brandon, you're in 15th, which I don't know why I didn't say good job. Like all of a sudden I was like so shook that he was in 15th. I'm like, that's insane. Like he's literally incredible. He's always been a runner. He's amazing. And his face, like he didn't even like look at me. He kind of just lifted his eyebrows. And then after he passed, I'm like, oh fuck, did I just like fuck up his whole mojo? Like there's obviously a lot of mental when you're running, like you're just so out of the zone. And he's like really pushing himself, right? Like his number one goal was to hit, like there's A goals and B goals and C goals. Like his second goal was 40 minutes. Like he's like, on a normal day, like I should be able to hit 40 minutes, but he's like, if I'm feeling good, he's like, I really want to push for 38. Like he's really trying to like do his best, which like, not that I wasn't, but I just like wasn't pushing myself. I was like, from my training, I run like a 10-minute mile, which puts me at a little over an hour. I was like, let me just shoot for under an hour. And I felt good. And I was like ahead of my schedule. My watch was speaking to me the whole time. And I was like, oh, easily. I'll leave a lot of gas in the tank. That way the last mile, I can really snip it into gear. Anywho, he passes and then I feel like bad. I'm like, oh my God, did I just fuck up his run? Like, did I just like pull him out of his trance? Like, he just kind of like raised his eyebrows and like, oh my God. I'm like, Brenna, you are just like running pretty leisurely. Like he's like really running. Then I felt bad. Then I'm like crying. Number one, like I wasn't actually crying, but like I felt bad that I was like yelling at him and I'm like, oh, he's going to fucking hate me. And then I'm like, Brenna, like, what were you doing? And then I was like so proud of him. I'm like, that's insane. That's insane. Oh, also Saturday was my brother's birthday. I don't even think I really acknowledged that. To him, I did obviously, but like online, I don't even think. October 4th is his birthday. He just turned 31. So anyways, I don't know why that's relevant. I'm like, oh my gosh, amazing. But I saw him, like he's literally passing me. I'm between miles 2 and 3. I still have over 3 miles to go. I'm like, that man's over halfway done. I'm like, God damn, good for him. But frick, no, honestly, the whole race was amazing. The houses we passed, these were like very historical homes. The whole time I'm like, I cannot wait to get on Zillow after this and like look up how much these homes were. And I was shook. Like they were huge homes for like not that expensive. Dallas has gotten so freaking expensive, but I digress. I finished the race and I finished in under an hour. But here's the thing. As you run up to the finish line, there's obviously a clock, right? And I passed at like an hour and 8 seconds. I'm like, I didn't make it. But that clock starts. And my brother pointed this out to me. I was like, God damn, I didn't even make it. And my watch, and my brother told me this beforehand, that because so many people are using smartwatches, oftentimes the satellite and like the thing is off a little bit. And while I was running, the watch would speak at me. It'd be like mile 1, 9:50 or like whatever the time was. But as you're running, you know when you're passing mile 1, they have like flags. But my bitch on my watch was telling me like a little bit always before the flags. Like she'd be like mile 1, 9:50. And I wouldn't pass the flag for a little bit. And obviously their flags are correct. Like they made the course. Like my watch was off. So I wasn't sure with the timing. Like my watch had told me like I should have in theory did it under an hour. But as I crossed the finish line, I see the time and it says an hour 8. And I'm like, God damn, I didn't even make it. Which is fine, whatever. Well, then I meet up with my brother and he's like, well, that's the time. Like they start that clock when the race starts. And he's like, you didn't actually pass the start line probably until like a minute after. He's like, that's not correct. Like your time that loads on the website after it's done and the results will be correct. And I did it in 59 minutes and 21 seconds. I beat an hour, which like, I definitely could have pushed myself more. Like it didn't really feel that hard, which like I'm not trying to like break records here. But if I do participate in a 10K again, that'll be like what I'm trying to beat, right? Like now I have a goal, which is like good. My brother's like, no, you've never done it before, like a 10K. That's great. Whatever. I asked my brother immediately, I'm like, did I totally fuck up your race? Like, was that, he's like, no, I was like so zoned out. Like, I was just, he had a tough race. He's like, I did not feel good. He said I was really thirsty right at the bat. Like, he had kind of like an Achilles issue. He's like, that definitely wasn't my best. And anywho, he was proud of himself. He tried to beat a 38 and he got 38.08 and he took 15th. He also took second in his age group. Hello? I just glitched, because they always break it up. Like, they'll do women, from 18 to 23 and then, 24 to 28. I think his age group was men 29 to 34. I don't know what makes them decide on the ages, but he took second out of his age group. He's just insane. That was amazing, but he was exhausted after, and obviously because he like pushed himself. We leave, we go home, shower, hang out, and then we went and got lunch at this Dream Creamery Dream. I'm not sure. It's an ice cream parlor, but they have burgers. So the three of us went and ate, and then we also went back home, hung out the rest of the day, and then we ended up going to Valley Scare. I told you guys, it's the theme park. This shit was crazy. So they do haunted houses. So like, it's a theme park at night. They also have like these clowns walking around trying to scare you. There's like smoke. So there were like, I think in total 6 haunted houses. And I didn't know my brother like loved this shit so much, but apparently he does. I was scared shitless. I'm like covering my eyes. These things just like pop at you. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't done a haunted house in so long. We did like 6 of them. And then we did all the roller coasters. I got us fast pass for everything for the haunted houses and the roller coasters. So we were like first in line every single time. So we got to go on a lot of the roller coasters multiple times. And this was just me and Brandon, because Ashley does not like roller coasters or haunted houses. So it was just me and Brandon. And it was really fun, like just walking around, doing the haunted houses, doing the roller coasters. And not that I'm like super nostalgic, but my dad, like we would try and do a trip. In the summertime, we would go to a Twins game, and then we would do Valley Fair. This is like what my dad saved up for. And then in the wintertime, I've told you, his boss had season tickets to the Vikings games, and he would always give my dad 1 week's worth. So then in the wintertime, we would always go to a Vikings game. So like Minneapolis is like our closest destination. So my dad took us to Valley Fair when we were kids, and that was like our first time ever doing roller coasters. And it's like still the exact same. So it was fun, like totally memory lane. And then that started, the like Valley Scare started at 7, and my brother, like his poor legs, we both took ibuprofen before we left because we were already at like 16,000 steps, and then we're gonna like walk around a theme park. I think we finished with like 30,000. But again, me and my brother are different. Like he really pushed himself in the race. So like he was definitely more exhausted, but he was a trooper. I drove us home. He's like, my feet hurt so bad. So then Sunday we woke up. He wanted to go on like a 4-mile walk. So we drove at like 10 or 11 to this Lake Calhoun. It's actually called something different now, and did a walk around the lake. The lake, I think, is about a 5K. It's like 3.2 miles. So we extended it a little bit. And then we went and got lunch, just the 2 of us. And then we went home and we hung out. And then I flew back that night. But while we were at home, we literally just sat on the couch for like the rest of the, obviously we're exhausted from the day before. Ashley was kind of like working. She had some appointments. So really it was just hanging out with my brother. But I made him watch Love is Blind. He wasn't really using the TV. So I'm like, oh, well, I want to watch. Let's start it. And of course, he's a boy. He's like, I don't want to watch it. And then pretty soon as it goes on, he's like totally invested in the show. Let's talk about Love is Blind now. I want to get into it. I want to pull up the cast because I'm not going to remember everybody. Okay, here it is. The men. I'm not going to go in any order. If you haven't watched Love is Blind, this might still be fun for you to talk about. Maybe not. I'll give you the breakdown. Number 1, Antone. Okay. And when Antone and Allie matched, they were the first couple to match up. But at the point where they decided to get married, I was like, I feel like this is the only couple I feel like strongly about. Like they seem to not really have issues. Again, it's TV. We're not really seeing everything. Obviously, everything's out of order. Like I really do hate, and I get it, it's a show, like it's put out in a way we're supposed to judge these people. I do get it, but like the diagnoses that people on TikTok and like I try not to go too hard. And it's like, we don't see everything. And I was explaining this to my brother. I'm like, they clip it in a way because sometimes things don't really make sense. Like, really? I'm like, wait, what? Like, that was his response. And it's like, it's out of order. Like, we're not even seeing things. Like, we're seeing conversations. Like, I don't know. We're just not seeing, obviously, the full picture. You can still get a good idea. Like, of course, I'm going to have opinions on people. I'm going to judge people. But, like, I see a lot of people diagnosing Edmund, and I get it. He probably, like, we all have fucking mental health issues, but like, I'm also, I don't know. Anywho, Antone and Allie, I didn't really have many opinions. And you guys, I was like loosely watching, like I was on my phone. I didn't see every conversation. Blake is next. Blake is the guy who left. He was talking to Anna. He also had a connection with somebody else. I feel like he was very genuine. I feel like he was genuine, and I'm sad that he left, and I'm sad that everybody left without saying anything, but I also get it. Whatever. It is what it is. Okay, next, Brendan. So the love triangle between Brendan, Nick, and what's her name? I'm forgetting her name. She's the blonde with the hair. We'll get on to her. It's hard because, again, we don't see all of the conversations. There were a few couples where I'm like, you guys aren't even having deep conversations. I'm like, the shit that you're talking about is so surface level. Let's get into Nick, which, like, he's my just least favorite. Like, he's the exact type of guy I would never date in my life. And here's a problem that I have in the real world, because this happens with dating apps. When a man starts talking sexually, it's fucking weird to me. Sorry for my language. It's so bizarre. Like, I don't know. I've just never been a person who sex in general, like sexting. That's never been my MO. Like, unless we're in person, like that stuff just weirds me out. And I've definitely had guys where like you haven't even met them yet and they start to like say sexual things. And I'm like, what the frick? Like, oh, it just gives me the worst vibes. Like, I don't find it hot. I don't find it like a compliment. Like, especially in the pods, like you're talking sexually and like you don't even know what that person looks like, which intimacy doesn't need to be about looks, but it's like, oh, I just want to like, and I'm like, oh, what the frick? Like, I hate that. I hate that. And for whatever reason, I know a few of them kind of started talking sexually, but him in specific, Nick, like, oh my gosh. When he said, and like, I'm going to try and not be so harsh, he told her that his mom one time suspected that he was gay. I'm like, your own mother thought that you were gay. She might be onto something. She might be onto something. I'm not going to accuse, right? But also, he's the hyper religious one, even though he didn't give up. But like, that's the thing, like something wasn't right with him. And my other issue, so he at first obviously liked that girl Kate, okay, and she said verbatim that when her mother died, she didn't believe in God. She's like, how, if there was a God, like how can he let that happen? Which I'm not here to discuss the semantics of that. I didn't really realize he was religious at that point, but he continued to speak to her, and he got in the pod with the other girl whose name I'm forgetting that he ends up proposing to, and they talk about their faith. And they also had that moment where they were talking about LGBTQ members, and they both were very much like essentially saying if they had a child who was gay or lesbian or whatever the thing is, LGBTQ, that they like would not be happy about it. I'm like, that's fucking crazy. That's literally an insane thing to say, but I digress. But once he started going into the religion aspect, I'm like, oh, he's like religious. Like if you're religious, which is fine, you need somebody who's religious. Or you need to find somebody who's open to becoming religious. Like, I just don't think that's something you budge on if you yourself are religious. So the fact that he was even continuing with Kate after she said she doesn't believe in God, I'm like, wait, you're religious and you're still entertaining that? Like, that should be a hard no. And this is thing about like dating in the real world. Like, you guys, if somebody, like, if you feel strongly about something, whatever the thing is, and like that person does not, like, that is a hard no. And it was so weird because that's what made them crumble. Like, I don't know how many days later, if it was a day later, when like she brought it up again and was like, no, she was like, I'm spiritual. And like, she said something and he was like, wait, what? Like, you don't believe in God. Like, I don't remember what the thing is. I'm like, she already said that. And like, that should have been a hard no. Like, you should have cut it off then. I'm like, that's 100% on you. I'm just like, oh my gosh. And he like, his reaction was so bizarre. But like also, and it's more on him. Like, that's what doesn't, like, how are you claiming to be a hyper religious person, but then you're like entertaining somebody who's like not? Like, that's just like a complete compatibility issue to me. I don't know. That was freaking weird. I just hate him. He's just like bad vibes. He just gives like creepy, like, I don't know. But then Brendan. So Brendan was in that love triangle. Every time I saw him, and she was right. I don't think either of those guys were right for her, but this like Brendan guy was like, oh my gosh, the fact that you guys, he like kept bringing up like, yeah, like, tell me what kind of house you want. What color do you want the door to be? And she kept telling him like, I don't feel like you really like actually like me. Like, you're not really giving me affirmations. And he's like, I keep asking you, like, what kind of house, what color of the door? I'm like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? That's not an affirmation. That's like fairyland. The part that's like so mind boggling to me and why I love this show so much is like, these people for the most part are like late 20s, early 30s, roughly mid 20s. You really see how like immature people are, and like, no wonder people choose the wrong partners, because do you see the conversations they're having? Like, what kind of like, tell me what house you want, like, tell me what color of the door. Like, that's some like high school bullshit. That's some like high school like fairy tale, like, oh, like he asked me like what kind of house I want. Like, talk about real things. And like, she kept saying like, I don't feel like you're actually in this. And he's like, oh, tell me what color door. I'm like, dude, like, have some depth. Have like literal depth. You guys aren't even talking about anything serious. I'm just like, oh, I hated everything about that. And he like tried to be Mr. Cool and like laid back. And I'm like, that's not cool. And we've seen it so many times in Love is Blind. Something that will happen is there will be a love triangle, and like the other person will find out that they are in a love triangle. Like, let's say it's two men, and like they'll realize that they're not the number one, and they'll panic, and then they just want them. It's like anything. It's like when you're in a bad relationship, this is what I would say is similar. Like, when you know it's not a good thing and you should break up with the person you're with, but then they mention it first, like they start rejecting you, and you're like, oh no, like you grasp at it, you like want it so badly, and it's like, no, a week ago you were contemplating breaking up with them, but like, it's like the one that got it, not the one that got away. What's like the phrase for that? It's like, you want what you can't have. It's like, you don't actually want that, but because that's also not the right phrase. I don't know what the phrase is. I'm so sorry, you guys. But like, it's also when this shouldn't be happening in real life, but like in high school, let's say like you're dating a guy, but he's like, oh, but I also like Jessica. It's like, you only want him because he wants somebody else, or because like you're in a competition. It's like, you don't actually want him. That's what happened here. Like, I feel like Brendan then, like, I don't feel like he was in it. Like, his conversations, the ones that we saw online anyways, I'm like, I think you only now want her because he was seeing that Nick was like head over heels. You guys, typically in seasons before, like, people come back and like try and kind of be inconspicuous about like who they're talking to and dating, and like try and be cognizant that like there are other guys potentially dating the same women. Nick comes back, and like, I think all of the men is what I'm gathering, think Nick is a loser as well. Like, I don't think it's just the girls who are picking up on that. I think the men in the pods or in the men's quarters, like, didn't like him as well. That was just the vibe I'm getting. Well, he comes back and he's like over the moon. And like Brendan, the guy talking to the girl he's like over the moon about, is sitting right there. And he's like, she's my number one. And she just said this. And he's like gloating. And Brendan's face, oh my gosh. I'm like, how awkward. How fucking awkward. And you could tell like all of the men like aren't really jiving with Nick. Okay. Anyways, Chase, I don't know who that is. Okay. Deo, I don't know who that is. Dylan, oh my gosh. It's crazy how many people. Okay, Edmund. Unfortunately, he is a very quirky dude. That's not the unfortunate part. He is extremely quirky. He is an odd mother. I said I wasn't going to say that again. He's a weird dude. And obviously, I don't remember the trauma that he went through. I know that he talked about it. I don't quite remember that. Clearly, there are things. And then after the pod, so he ends up with KB. Spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. If you were planning on watching this, I apologize. I'm ruining it. The thing is, like, and this was another part. I'm like, you're saying we see the people talk about the type of partner that they want, and then they pick the opposite. Like, KB kept talking about how she doesn't want to be strong anymore, and she doesn't want to have to be independent, and she wants a strong man. And no offense to Edmund, he is like a very emotional, soft man. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but like he is not what she said she was looking for. Like he is not this strong dude. You know what I mean? Like she clearly needs like a very like hard man. I don't really know what that means, but like I think you'll understand if you watch it. And it's like, he is not that. And like he is very sweet. And I love that he's in tune with his emotional side and he's very vulnerable. And that's great. But like, for what she was saying she needed, he is like the opposite. And then they get out of the pods and obviously you see that. It's like, yeah, like, oh my gosh, when they were at dinner and she was like, if we're out and we're holding hands and a man comes up to me and is like, hey, yo, like I want you. And I'm like, what an odd scenario. I'm like, also kind of bizarre that you're like going, I don't know. Of course I have judgments on like, if you're in a relationship, like, of course you're going to go to bars and like go out with your friends for like occasions, but like you're going to the clubs. I guess that's some people's lifestyles. I just feel like maybe get out of the club. But she like brought up this hypothetical situation. She's like, what if a guy comes up to me and we're like trying to leave and he's like, hey, like I want to blah, blah, blah. And Edmund's like, I'll just keep pulling you. Like, come on, come on. It was like actually kind of precious in my opinion. And I understand like she wanted him to be like, I'm going to stand up to him and like say like, get off my girl. Like that's what she was wanting. But like Edmund's not that guy. Like he's a very nice, sweet guy. I'm like, girl, like what did you expect? Like you knew this. I'm just like, oh, they're just like, again, I see this on social media and I see this in just like breakups in general. Like when they start bashing each other or they have their gripes and it's like, that's just who they are. Like, I don't think that KB is a bad person and I don't think that Edmund is a bad person. I don't think either of them is incorrect. The fact that she wants a man in that scenario to like stand up for her and protect her, that's great. And I get that, right? Edmund, on the other hand, he's like a very nice person. Like he then was like, I'll get security. And she like very much wants him to be confrontational. And it's like, he's just not that. I don't think that makes him a bad guy. I don't think in this hypothetical situation, there was a right or a wrong, but it's like what she wanted, the type of man is not him. Right. And like, that's just that. And I think a lot of times in breakups, like, we can sit there and we're like, oh, he wasn't this, he wasn't that. Like, I don't think that makes them a bad person, right? But like, you guys just weren't compatible. So I'm eager to see how that plays out. Okay, I don't know who that is. Oh, Joe and Madison. It's giving, to a degree, the girl from the season that said she looked like Megan Fox, her and that other guy. Like the second that Joe and Madison met, you could tell that Joe was not vibing, obviously with the looks, like all you can imagine, or just like, I bet that is very overwhelming, which Madison is a beautiful girl. I'm not saying, I'm just like, you could tell from his body language that he just like wasn't really loving, not what he saw, or it wasn't connecting in his head. And I feel like that happened with the guy and Megan Fox. And then once they went out, like the attraction's not there. And like, It just, you can just see it. Like, that's just that. But then, they're trying to make it work. The whole scene where, like, she came back and he had just woken up and, like, he was very clearly intoxicated. Like, I'm seeing a lot of discourse about this where they're like, oh my God, Joe was totally in the wrong, which I think he was a man who was intoxicated and just woke up from a long fucking nap. And she's like, I get it. It was weird behavior. Like, he was like so out of it, but like, I've woken up from naps where I'm dazed and like, it was just like weird vibes. I don't know. I think a lot of people are like really reading into it. I get it. Like, I think he was just genuinely like, whoa, and she was like crying and like, again, should he have been more comforting? Yes, but it's like, we're talking about two people. Like, he very like much is like not feeling it. I get it. Like, I've been with guys and like you start to lose the attraction, and maybe it was there at one time, but then it's like gone and it's just like, oh, you just like, you don't want to deal with them. I don't know. I've definitely been in that scenario. Unfortunately, they're obviously just like it's not clicking. It's not for Madison. And she's like a great, sweet girl, right? I think Joe just like isn't into it. Jordan. Okay. Sparkle Megan. That shit was like, I'm like, you're 33 years old and you're calling yourself Sparkle Megan. Like, I can't. Like, that was just like, ugh. And the money and I get it. Like, I think it's good that she was upfront about like the life that she lives and whatnot. So she was between Mike and Jordan. And Jordan, honestly, I think he's a great guy. Like, I hate the tattoos. I'm just not like a tattoo person. That would like really throw me off. But I feel like he's very genuine. I feel like he might be a little immature for her. Like, she's just a very like cut and dry. Like, she seems like a very type A person. She's not like super, super bubbly. Like, she seems like a sweet, kind, nice girl, but I feel like she's pretty straight and narrow. Whereas like Jordan's like more goofy. When they got out of the pods and he like got drunk and was like really joking and she's like, you're annoying me. Like, I feel like I'm kind of like more uptight. I'm not super uptight, but like I can't be with a guy who's like super immature. Like, that just like turns me off. So like I kind of understood where she was coming from. She could have been nice. Like, when Jordan was like telling people, he was like, the delivery wasn't the best. Like, I get that, but I also have been her where you're just like, oh my gosh, you're like really fucking annoying. Like, you're just being immature. Like, that just to me is a big turn off. I think he's like a really great guy though. Like, my problems though is their connection. Like, the type 1 diabetes, like I feel like for whatever reason that just like became like a really big part of their relationship. So basically, if you haven't watched, her dad passed of type 1 diabetes or like complications because of his type 1 diabetes. I'm sorry, I just like glitched again. And his son, so he's a single dad. He has a 5-year-old son who has type 1 diabetes. And like the second that came out, she was like, oh my gosh, I feel like this is a sign where like, I don't really believe in that type of stuff. And I'm just like, oh, I feel like we're really holding on to something. Like, if you have a connection, you have a connection. But it's like, I get that that's not like a common thing to happen, to like date a guy whose son has type 1 diabetes and your dad had it. But it's also like, that's not going to say that much about your guys' relationship. That actually has nothing to do with your relationship. And I feel like these things happen. It's like, I don't know. Anyways, we'll see. I really like him. I do like her. I feel like they're the individuals that I like the most. I just don't know if they like match up. And it's interesting because I finished it with Carter here. Like, I finished watching the episodes and he was saying, and this is something where I don't agree with him on. He was like, I feel like because she's successful, like she could be with any guy. Like, she could be with a guy who like isn't as successful. And I'm like, totally. And you're right. Right. It's like a guy who's successful. Like, he can have a woman who just like has like a normal job or like whatever, like totally, because you don't need any extra support. But I do feel like, and it's a double standard for sure, but like for women and for men, I feel like they feel emasculated. Like, if she's like fully supporting them to a degree, like they went and looked at houses and she's looking at like 1.5 million to $2 million houses. And he's like, I'm not going to be able to like really help with that. Like, just based off his income and having a son. And like, if you're not secure enough or confident, like number one, the man can feel emasculated and like that can turn really sour. And I feel like that happens. Whereas women don't really feel that way. Like the double standard is like men should provide for the women. Not saying that that's true, but like women don't feel the guilt as much, where I feel like a man feels like he should provide and like that could be a thing. And a woman, like she could then resent him, which I'm not saying she would, but like that dynamic does scare me a little bit. Okay. And then as far as Mike, yeah, I feel like that would be her typical type. Mike is just, when he was talking about how like he has a girlfriend who he used to hook up with, who now has a boyfriend of like years, and that she comes over just herself to hot tub and sauna with him. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, he just gives major fuckboy vibes. And I'm not here to judge a woman on not being, you know, with somebody. Let me only judge a man. There's a reason he's 37 and single. And the more words that come out of his mouth, and like, he also said some other really douchey things. I'm like, yep, I'm glad she didn't go with him. I think there were parts of him that I enjoyed. Obviously, I think he is like the most fuck boy, like normal-esque dude on there, if that makes sense. Like, he says the right things and he's, you know, semi-successful. He's a real estate investor, blah, 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 blah. But I obviously like Jordan better. Oh, wait, I lost okay. Let's pull up the other people. Yeah, I don't really have that many thoughts on Mike. I just watched the episode where they like spoke and like, which I try and not dog him, because like he was trying to like say things about Jordan, which like is inappropriate and like don't do that. But like, I get it. Can you imagine, like, I'm psycho and like most women are psycho. Can you imagine you go back to the women's quarters and like you're with the people who are like dating the same guy? Like if you're dating a guy and you know a girl who's like dating that same guy, like it would be hard not to go insane. And like, no, I don't think it's appropriate to say something, but like they're human beings. We sit here and judge these people, but like what an odd predicament to be in. You know what I mean? Okay, who are these guys? I've never seen them. Okay, Mike, Nick, already spoke about him. Oh, Patrick. Patrick is the Asian guy. And oh my God, him and Casey. Him and Anna, it was so funny because they were hypocrites and they were so contradictory. It's like both of them were like, yeah, I've never dated. So Anna was this girl. She ended up leaving, but she's Asian. They were both like, I've never dated somebody of my same culture. They're like, oh, he said he only dates white girls. She said he only dates, or she said she only dates white men. And I'm like, okay, and you guys are sitting here pretending like you're dope. It's like, you guys know, like you clearly are not attracted to your same race, which is like fine. But it's like, why are you sitting here? I don't know. That was like odd to me, right? And then he ends up with Casey, which obviously Annie went home and Annie was his favorite or his number one. And then he chose her. And again, we don't see all of the conversations. I went back and forth with Patrick. Like, I think deep down, he's very genuine. Like, I really liked him. Him and Blake were my favorites, just like of the men who seemed like the most like normal. There were parts where I'm like, dude, like the whole, I get it. And like, that is a big part of his childhood, the Asian thing. And like being in Colorado where he was the only Asian, like I'm not sitting here, like I'm not going to say anything about like what he went through as a child, but there were like certain things that he said where I'm like, okay, dude, like I get it. I can't think of his specific examples. I just remember me and my brother both were like, I can't really get a read. At first we couldn't really get a read on him. After the whole Casey thing happened and then she like could not break up with him, you guys, her like kissing him and saying I love you, meanwhile she's like trying to like tell, or not trying, she straight up lied to him. She was like telling him like, I just can't do the cameras, where then she's telling the other, you know, the crew that she's just not attracted to him. And she knew that. And the way in the pod she was like pressing so hard for his culture, I'm like, or his ethnicity, I'm like, oh, like there was no reassurance. It was just all bad vibes. Like immediately I'm like, oh, this is bad. And like, he's only picking her because Annie went home, which I respect. Like he's in this experiment, whatever. I felt bad for him. I felt really bad for him. And when he showed up at the thing and met with Annie, I don't know, he seems like a nice dude. Like I really enjoyed him. Okay. Next. And then Allie. Okay, I went through the girls pretty much because I was talking about the guys. Annie. Oh. The Asian girl is Anna. Annie is the one who ended up with Nick. Yeah, she's just like gives me weird vibes, to be honest. Like, I feel like she's also like not very deep, which not that people need to be deep, but like she's always just like, ha ha ha. Like, I never see her either having like a deep conversation. It seems like there's not a lot going on upstairs. Unfortunately, I'm being very mean, but like that's just the vibe I get. And maybe it's just the way that the edit was. Okay, did I cover everybody else? China, Hillary, I don't know. Yeah, Casey, unfortunately, not good. Kate was really cute. The blonde girl who else? Was she talking to Blake? Blake went home and then Nick chose the other girl. I really enjoyed her. I thought she was precious. KB, again, I like KB. I don't think anything's wrong with her. I think she just chose the wrong man. Right. Then we have Madison, again, great gal. She was cute. She has this, if you didn't watch, she could potentially go blind. She has this disease, retinus, something, which is so sad. Like, I think about how lucky I am, and I need to be more grateful that I'm like, healthy, because she, and like, of course, anybody with any sort of like disorder or disease, like, you just have to live with it. But like, I can't imagine how hard that would be. I loved her. Yeah, Sparkle Megan, the whole Sparkle thing really just like rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know why. And that's it. Those are my thoughts on Love is Blind. Let me pull up my notes app and make sure that I got through everything. Things I'm hyper fixating on. Did I say thanks? Number one, I realized last night, I had this dinner with Atique Beauty last night, which I'm so excited to try their products. Actually, it's shampoo and conditioner, except it's so different. It's made in New Zealand. They're like bars. Like, think of a soap bar, but it's shampoo and conditioner. So number one, it's like so much product because it's not filled with water. Like, you obviously just lather it into your hair and it's like a thick bar. So like, that's one of their things. It's like essentially like 10 bottles of shampoo and conditioner worth of product in this bar. It lasts forever, and like, I'm so excited to try it out. I haven't. They're in Ulta and they're launching somewhere else. If I had to guess, I would say Target, because I feel like they would be a great Target brand, but I'm so excited to try the product. We had dinner last night at Fearings, which is at the bottom of the Ritz-Carlton, and it was delicious. I had this chicken fried lobster with this beef fillet and like this spinach or asparagus enchilada. They had this sauce. And mashed potatoes. It was delicious. And then they just brought out like all of these desserts for us. I had this banana pudding. It was divine. It was what I put on my story. It was delicious. We also got a little appetizer. I got like this mocktail, this cucumber mocktail. Amazing. The girls were amazing. It was only like 8 of us. My outfit, on point. Thank you to everybody who hyped me up. I loved that outfit. But what I was going to say is it made me realize I need closed-toed heels, and I probably should invest in just some flats in general. There were these Kate Spade kitten closed-toed heels at Nordstrom Rack when I went like a few weeks ago that I really liked, and they seemed comfortable. But at the time, I'm like, bitch, where are you wearing this? Like, you don't need a closed toe. And then yesterday, Carter was like, wear a trouser, because it was supposed to be like upscale business casual. But my trousers, I didn't have a shoe. I only wear sneakers with them when I'm doing like a casual look, which is like, of course, I'm not going to like business casual dinners that often, but like when I am, I need a closed-toed heel. So I need to find some. And I'm thinking about going back and seeing if they have the Kate Spade heel. Other than that, I'm reading The Things We Cannot Say. I told you guys I started that last week. I obviously read it on the plane. Phenomenal. Loving the book. Other than that, I think that's all I have. This weekend, we don't have any plans other than I'm going to see Natalie and Ryan. Carter and I think we're going to take them out to dinner and then do like putt-putt or a movie or something. We just haven't seen them in so long. So I'm finally going to see my freaking best friend. And then that's it, really. That's all I have, you guys. Okay, happy Friday. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys have the best weekend. I think that's all I have. Okay, I'll see you guys on Monday. I'm literally brain dead. Okay, we'll see you then. Bye, guys.